Your inner child will help you discover your own unique pottery voice. What is up, Shape Nation? This is Nick Torres here. And for those that don't know me, it is my mission to help you discover your own unique pottery voice, and I do that by giving you free tips through this podcast. So, very recently, I got to interview Katie Bramlage. And during my interviews, towards the end of them, I always like to start talking about how to find our pottery voice. So I start asking questions on how to find your voice. Maybe like, what was your biggest obstacle? What would you do differently? And one of the questions I typically tend to ask almost every single person I'm interviewing is, what advice would you give to someone trying to discover their own unique pottery voice? And Katie came up with a really, really great answer. It was a really great answer. So basically, she was saying that she finds that if you can look back to your very early years of life, like maybe when you're ages 4 or about 3 to those early years, she said, what did you use to play with? What interested you when you were a child at that very young age? And she pointed out my almost the things that I enjoyed pretty much like spot on, like right away. She said that I would imagine that you like playing with action figures and other things around that nature, and she hit it right there. She was like on it right there for me, because that's exactly what I did when I was younger. I I played with action figures, I played with Hot Wheels, and I played with all that little stuff. And she said, because if you could look back and see what you liked back then, you could start applying that to what you like now. Because more than likely, you're going to see what you actually liked and the things that you're actually interested in from being able to try to remember what you liked back then when you were a child. And it's so true, for me at least. It's very true, because I liked playing with those stuff when I was a kid, and it's still translating to my pottery now. And I think you guys can also do the same. If you liked picking flowers or looking at flowers when you were a kid, how can you add that element of picking flowers or looking at flowers into your own pottery? If you liked playing sports or other things, maybe video games as a kid, how can you add that into your own pottery and into your own voice? Your inner child is going to help you discover your own unique voice, because think about it this way. When you were a child, you were probably the most creative person you were ever at the time of your life. The most creative, the most imaginative. You probably picture yourself having superpowers, or maybe climbing up the Eiffel Tower, or going to Mount Everest, whatever it was. You were the most imaginative person when you were a child. I know for damn sure I was a very imaginative person. I always thought I could have superpowers and run around like the Flash, or be Spider-Man and all this other stuff, because I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And if we could unleash our inner child, then our pottery voice will start showing up, because we start incorporating things that we're actually interested in. And that's what finding your pottery voice is pretty much all about. It's about finding things that you're actually interested in and putting it into your pottery and trying to make it come to life. If you could think back to when you were a child, what are the things that you liked to do? Maybe you liked playing sports. Maybe you liked baking. Maybe you liked watching cartoons. Whatever it was, what did you like to do when you were a child? And how can you start applying that to your own pottery as well? Because if you can unleash your inner child, it's going to be that much easier to help you find and discover your own unique pottery voice. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.